Hey, you Washington football maniacs out there. Well, guess what? Ben Johnson has turned down the Washington Commanders job for the head coaching position. We just heard about this not too long ago. It seems that he let the Commanders know that he was withdrawing from consideration while the Commanders were en route to Detroit to interview him. Now, they're still going to interview Aaron Glenn, so it's not a lost cause as far as a trip out to Detroit. But certainly this really puts the coaching search up on its head. I mean, everybody was thinking, it's got to be Ben Johnson. It's got to be Ben Johnson. And even, Adam Schefter came out and said that don't be surprised, he is not a lock for Washington. And, a lot of us, I was about ready to actually release a video to say, what in the world is Adam Schefter talking about? I mean, then he went on to say that, well, he still could wind up being the Commanders head coach. And then I'm just kind of like, is this all just kind of like lip service? I'm starting to wonder if the Commanders kind of had an idea that he was not going to take the job. But from what other beat reporters are saying, that it did take the Commanders by surprise. So I guess apparently they really felt that it would come down to if Ben Johnson won the job. I still think that he was probably the number one candidate, but I will tell you this. If he is doing this, turning down the job while the team is en route or while officials are en route to come and interview him, it's not a good look. I mean, if you're going to do it, just do it the night before, or, do it before they leave. Just to me, it's kind of almost shades of was Josh McDaniels. It just really, I don't know, leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And I think that honestly, teams are not going to forget about it. They're going to remember that in the future when he comes up for another head coaching position. I mean, honestly, it's still a shock to me, because honestly, I did think he was a lock. I really did. But now, we're turning to the other candidates. Mike McDaniel, or Mike Macdonald, I should say. Mike Macdonald, he is definitely the number two candidate that I'm interested in, but he's a defensive mind. And how will Josh Harris be able to sell that to the Commanders fans? Because it seemed like everybody had the feeling that we needed a bright, young offensive mind. The only other guy that's left for consideration that fits that script would be Bobby Slowik. Now, Bobby Slowik doesn't really seem to be, I don't want to use the term ready, but he is probably the least experienced out of all the other candidates. So it would be interesting to see if they do decide to go with someone like Bobby Slowik, because they just want a great offensive mind. But honestly, what they've said altogether is they want a great leader. Well, I guess you can say with Ben Johnson that, again, if he does this stuff, if he just ups and cancels like this, should we question his leadership? I don't know. I mean, that's probably a little unfair for me to say, but still, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So Mike Macdonald, of course, Bobby Slowik, the Commanders are still in Detroit to interview Aaron Glenn. So we'll see what they think of Aaron Glenn. I mean, Glenn has done a lot for that Detroit's defense. That Detroit's defense has been spectacular this year. So, he could be a good pickup. But then again, it's a defensive mind, along with Mike McDaniels, along with Dan Quinn. And, again, the only other two guys really left would be Eric Bieniemy and Bobby Slowick if you want to go the offensive route. And I don't know if the Commanders would consider interviewing Mike Vrabel. I'm kind of surprised they haven't decided to interview him. I would definitely give him an interview. But at the same time, this team they need to have their head coach in place, because you need to have that guy in place to get things started. There's so much work that has to be done. And before you know it, you're going to have the NFL Combine around the corner and things like that, getting ready for the new league year. So you want to have that head coach in place. So I don't see the Commanders taking another week to decide. They're probably, more than likely, they're going to announce a new head coach before the end of this week. Just we all thought it was going to be Ben Johnson, and it's not. So I know a lot of you folks are pulling for Mike Macdonald. I'm pulling for him. I know he's defensive mind, but I think he would be really good for the team. And if not him, then a lot of fans are going to be upset because we felt like those two guys were 1 and 2. And if Macdonald gets hired by Seattle, which he's interviewing with them today, then that's really going to turn everything on its top end if you're a Commanders fan wanting to have a top-notch head coach. Because certainly a lot of us feel like Dan Quinn, Eric Bieniemy, guys like that just doesn't excite the fan base. It really doesn't. But I know there's a lot of EB fans out there who want him to be the head coach, and he may get his chance. So, at least the upside to that is continuity. Keeping Eric Bieniemy in there, maybe he decides to keep Sam Howell as the starter. Maybe he doesn't. If he drafts another guy, I just hope that he is able to develop that quarterback. But at any rate, Ben Johnson not coming to Washington. Those are the breaks. Well, folks, we will be back. I will take care. You take care. We will all take care. And hell to the Washington Commanders.